Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a kind of sort of FAFO news story to share with you. This is out of the state of Missouri. Apparently, there's a waitress. Her name is Carol Mayorga. She was detained. She was detained in late April. She had traveled to what she thought was going to be just a routine immigration visit. Mayorga thought she was just going to be updating her employment authorization document, which she's had for quite a while, which as I'm going to explain, but she was there for 7 hours. So she goes to this ICE facility. She's thinking, oh, I'm just going to update this thing and I'll be on my way. She's asking them, like, can I go? Like, she'd been there for so long. And they kept telling her, no, you got to wait, you got to wait. So she's there for 7 hours at this ICE facility. And then they finally tell her, yeah, you're not going anywhere. You're staying here. And oh, and by the way, you're probably going to be deported back to your home country. So they shackle her. They shackle her at the wrist, at the waist, at the ankles, as if she's this major, drug dealer or criminal of some sort. They throw her in a van with four other men, by the way, four other detainees, and they haul her off to a detention facility. And she has since been moved all around to different locations. So Mayorga's little, or not little, Mayorga's legal name is, I'm going to try to pronounce it. If I butcher it, I apologize to all the Asian viewers out there. Ming Lee Hui or Hugh, I'm not sure, Hui. Anyway, she was born in Hong Kong. She came to the US, though, over 20 years ago. Now, she came in under a non immigrant visa. She said that she was escaping her mother because her mother was very violent. Like she would burn her with cigarettes, things like that. She was also very psychologically torturous and harming her in that way, just telling her, I wish you would just die. I wish you were never born. Just like horrible, horrible woman. So, because of that, also just because of the way women are treated in that country, she just felt unsafe. She just obviously she was unsafe. Her mother was abusing her physically, emotionally. So she came to the US. Unfortunately, Mayorga overstayed her visa. So she received a deportation notice. That was in 2008. But over the years, she had filed appeals, she had filed different paperwork, tried to seek asylum and so forth. The courts were not really receptive. They were like, you're an adult now. At this point, your mother can't hurt you. You can go back to your country. Eventually, though, she was able to secure an employment authorization and they had her under supervision. So that allowed Mayorga to remain in the US. She was working, she was trying to acquire citizenship, and she would periodically have to go in to renew these documents. So that's what she thought she was doing that day when they ended up detaining her. Well, she now has three US born children in the 21 years or so that she's been here. She has had three children. She has a daughter who's 7 years old. She has two sons. One is 12, one's 14. NPR went, they interviewed her at the latest detention facility that she's been moved to. And they said that she was fighting back tears while she was talking about her kids, how good their grades are, how good they're doing in school. She was saying, the kids are saying to her, if you have to leave, if you're deported, can we go with you? And she was saying, I don't want to do that to them. I don't want to disrupt their lives. And because she has nothing there, like she has no real family left there that care about her. She hasn't been there in over 2 decades. And she was saying, I don't want to disrupt their lives. I also would assume I'm going to end up living on the street while I'm there. And I can do that by myself. I'm okay with that. But I can't do that with children. I can't put my children through that. So NPR also went and interviewed residents from her small town, and they all describe her as this model resident. They said that she's a quote unquote soccer mom. They said she's a friend. She's a hard worker. She apparently was holding down multiple jobs at one point to support her family. So a lot of these people voted for Trump because this is Missouri again, and this area overwhelmingly voted for Trump, this city in particular. So these people are now having to grapple with the fact that, oh my gosh, someone I like, someone I know who's not American is getting swept up in this, getting picked up in these mass deportations. So NPR spoke with a council member. Her name is Lisa Dry. She did not vote for Trump. She is a Democrat. And she told NPR, quote, if you're looking for a model citizen, she works hard. She takes care of her kids. She makes sure they have everything they need. I mean, to me, that's the kind of citizen we want here. I'm not sure people are making the connection between federal policy and what happened to Carol. What happened to Carol is not an aberration. I can't speak for other people. I don't know what their thoughts are, but I do hear them ask questions. Surely this is a mistake, or what did she do wrong? Or Carol's not a criminal. Why is this happening to her? Something like this brings it home because it makes it personal. So, yeah, they're finally realizing, like, oh, well, I meant those other immigrants. I meant those brown people, not this woman who I know, who serves me my coffee, who I like, who actually is a decent human being and has children and has a life here. So these residents are upset about what's happening with Mayorgga. In fact, the owner of the restaurant where she works, she organized a fundraiser for Mayorga's legal expenses. She shut or I guess they have a day off. I don't know if it's Monday or whatever day it is that they shut down the restaurant normally. So they decided to open it that day. They had it open from something like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. And all of the money they made that day went to her legal fees. And the owner of the restaurant refers to Mayorgga as part of her family. That was her quote, that she's part of the family. And she told NPR, quote, she never missed a day, always upbeat, always smiling. She was always happy and greeting everybody, never standing around, always just working, finding something to do. Yeah, because that's what most immigrants do. They come here for a better life. They come here to make money that they can't make in their own countries. They come here to be safe, to raise their children in a safe environment because they're not criminals, because they're not lowlifes. If they were, they would stay in their own country. So NPR noted that during this fundraiser at this restaurant, the parking lot was filled with cars. They actually had to park in other parking lots and other businesses around the area because it was so full. That's how much people were interested in this and wanting to support her. And some of these cars had Trump 2024 stickers on them that said, like, take America back, things like that. So I guess they don't necessarily want to take it back from this Carol woman. So there was a customer, Bud Garrison is there with his wife. Her name is Anita. They actually made custom t-shirts in support of Mayorgga. So these shirts said, bring Carol home. And then it said hashtag Team Carol. Bud Garrison and his wife, though, voted for Trump. And he told the reporter, quote, 95% of the people in here support Trump. I do too. but this is wrong. And then his wife said, quote, "We don't feel what's happened to her is right. She's a very upstanding citizen in our community. Her kids are into the sports. She's in the church, and she's a very upstanding citizen as far as I'm concerned. I think she deserves to be free with her kids." Yeah, you mean like the majority of the immigrants who've come here just working hard, making their way, making a living, trying to provide, not harming you, the ones that you were all on board with the mass deportation. It's unbelievable. And then another couple, Kevin and Judy Casey, they're also Trump supporters, but they consider Mayorga to be a friend. They said that she is a close friend in their estimation, according to what, their interactions with her. At this fundraiser, Judy told NPR that Mayorga's detainment was quote unquote radical, and she referred to Mayorga as an quote easy target. And then Judy said, quote, "I think it's the sorriest thing I've ever seen. She went up there to get renewed, and they just kept her. Her family didn't get to know it. She didn't even get to say goodbye to her family or anything." These people are so in their bubble. They're so uninformed. These are low information voters. And I know they get pissed off when you call them that, but what else would you call it when this is happening all over the country every single freaking day since Donald Trump took office practically? And they're shocked. Oh, she didn't get to say goodbye to her family. This was a total shock to her. They didn't even tell her. They just did this out of the blue. Yeah, that's happening over and over and over again to people just like her in every state on a daily basis, on like an hourly basis, on a minute to minute basis. This is what is happening. What do you people think they're protesting for in Los Angeles and now in other states around the country? This is why. Wake the fuck up. I, I don't mean to cuss at these people, but it's like, Jesus, where have you been? What are you reading? What are you watching? How do you not know that this is going on constantly? That this is why people are protesting Donald Trump and his fascist regime. It is infuriating. Oop, just hit the lid for my water. I'm so angry. I'm going to throw it. Anyway, and then there was another customer, guy named Gerald Pickens. Slim Pickens in this town. Anyway, he definitely sounded like a Trump supporter, as you're going to hear. But he told NPR, quote, "I know they're trying to get all these aliens back, but it seems to me like situations like this are just getting the easy ones. She went because they called her there, and I'm sure she's not the only one. She doesn't deserve this." I mean, kudos to Pickens for knowing that, hey, there's probably others, but aliens, really? I mean, that's how you know he's a MAGA man. And then another person who spoke with NPR is a local business owner. Her name is Deborah Sample. I don't know if Sample voted for Trump or not. They did not mention it in this NPR article, but she shared how compassionate Mayorga was with her. Apparently, the Sample woman, sadly, she lost her daughter last year. She passed away. And she told NPR, quote, "Carol was very kind and compassionate to me when I was in need. She's a person in our community that is needed, and we want her home. This is up to God to help bring Carol home." No, No, quite the opposite, lady. It's actually up to the apricot antichrist to bring her home. So I just wanted to share this story because it really highlights a couple of things. So, first of all, it highlights, as I've been ranting about, the fact that Trump voters are very much uninformed about what's going on in the country. I mean, these people obviously had no clue that people like Mayorga are being detained and deported on the daily, on a regular basis, minute by minute, for no reason, right? Like they fell for the propaganda that, oh, we're just going to go after the criminals. We're capturing and deporting the worst of the worst. We're only deporting rapists and murderers and people like that. They fell for it. Obviously, Fear News Network viewers, right? That's what they're listening to and watching 24/7, and so that's why they had no idea. But this also helps us to understand why integration is so important. Why, it's so important for people like this in these small towns to get to know people who are not just white and straight, because they now see Mayorga as a human being. They don't just see her as a quote unquote illegal or an alien, right? They got to know her. They got to know her kids. This is why trying to cut people off, remaining siloed in your own bubble, not exposing people like this to other nationalities, other religions, other ways of life, other sexual orientations. This is why it's such a negative. And it's also why Trump and his ilk want to keep it that way, why they want to keep us segregated. I mean, the last thing that they want is for MAGA men and women to actually see immigrants as human beings, to see them as a family man, a family woman, to see them as a mother or a father that are just no different from them. It's so much easier to vilify and to demonize these faceless, nameless others. So this is why, I get it. I have cut off, I did cut off one friend who was a Trump supporter. I did not cut her off because she's a Trump supporter, though. I cut her off because she was making racist remarks on Facebook, because she was posting negative things about Muslim people and making them out to all be horrible and dangerous and just, saying nasty things. And I have not a lot, but I have several Muslim friends. And I didn't want that in my feed. I didn't want my Muslim friends seeing that and thinking, this is who Gina's hanging out with. Does Gina secretly feel this way? And honestly, if that's how she feels, that's who she is at heart, I don't want any part of that. That is my red line. Like, you can have different political views, that's fine. But when you start pushing these racist views, these xenophobic views, and you make it known to me that that's who you are, that you are that ignorant, that you can single people out and accuse people of things without even knowing them based on the color of their skin or their religion or their sexual orientation or whatever the case may be, that's it. We're done. We're done. I now know you're ignorant. I now know that you are hateful and that you are insecure and you have lived in a little bubble and don't know much of anything. And so, no, I have no use for you. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, if you have different political views, that's fine. I have a lot of family members who are Republicans. I have a lot of family members who voted for Trump. Some who are full-blown MAGA, some who are just uninformed, who just don't pay much attention. They just pick up things from friends and family, husbands, whatnot. But they're actually very, very good people. They are loving people. They care about others. I truly believe that if they understood the truth, if they really did know the truth about what's going on, they would be horrified by it. They would be repulsed. They would be absolutely turned off and turn against Donald Trump if they knew the truth. So those people, no, I don't cut them out of my life because how are they going to be exposed? You know, when they come to my home, when they have come to my parties, what they see is the United Nations. I had somebody call it that once because there's literally someone of every nationality, every religion, every sexual orientation. I mean, you name it, it's at one of my parties or at one of my events, you know? So I think that's good. You have to expose people. Um, I had a situation with actually my best friends who are very religious. They're Haitian. They came from Haiti when they were very young. They're here legally, Trump, by the way, but they've been here for a very long time. And because of their religion, they just automatically had a certain position about gay people, about homosexuality. Because of our relationship, because we are so close, and because they know they can trust me, we have had very candid conversations about it. And they have had a change of heart. They have told me, the husband told me that because he got to meet especially one of my gay friends, one of my very best friends who is gay, he was very changed by that. He saw gay people completely differently, and they have really changed their tune. So you can change hearts and minds, but you can't do it if we silo off and we don't interact, and people on the other side are not exposed to people that they wouldn't normally be exposed to. So anyway, guys, that's me saying my piece for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like this video. Please share it with everyone you know so that they get all this information and good stuff. And again, hit the subscribe button if you have not. Really, really appreciate it. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.